independence. In addition, Ethiopia had just begun to emerge from a long and brutal famine. Harold Marcus reminds us that the army was restive over its long service in the field, short of rations, and the short rains which would bring all travel to a crawl would soon start to fall. At the time, Menelik claimed a shortage of cavalry horses with which to harry the fleeing soldiers. Chris Prouty observes that a failure of nerve on the part of Menelik has been alleged by both Italian and Ethiopian sources. As a direct result of the battle, Italy signed the Treaty of Addis Ababa, recognizing Ethiopia as an independent state. This defeat of a colonial power and the ensuing recognition of African sovereignty became rallying points for later African nationalists during their struggle for decolonization, as well as activists and leaders of the Pan-African movement. As the Afrocentric scholar Molefe Asante explains, after the victory over Italy in 1896, Ethiopia acquired a special importance in the eyes of Africans and black people all over the world alike, as the only surviving African state that successfully defeated a European colonial power in open battle. Italy's government, who had viewed them as an inferior barbaric race, were brought to their knees and subsequently forced to recognize the African nation of Ethiopia as an equal. After Adwa, Ethiopia became emblematic of African valor and resistance, the bastion of prestige and hope to thousands of Africans who were experiencing the full shock of European conquest and were beginning to search for an answer to the myth of African and black inferiority, as well as invoking a strong sense of Pan-Africanism towards people of African American origins who had suffered equally appalling injustices at the time and many centuries before. On the other hand, many writers have pointed out how this battle was a humiliation for the Italian military. Italian historian Tripodi argued that some of the roots of the rise of fascism in Italy went back to this defeat and to the perceived need to avenge the defeat that started to be present in the military and nationalistic groups of the Kingdom of Italy. Indeed, one student of Ethiopia's history, Donald N. Levine, points out that for the Italians Adwa became a national trauma which demagogic leaders strove to avenge. It also played no little part in motivating Italy's revanchist adventure in 1935. Levine also noted that the victory gave encouragement to isolationist and conservative strains that were deeply rooted in Ethiopian culture, strengthening the hand of those who would strive to keep Ethiopia from adopting techniques imported from the modern West. Present-day celebrations of Adwa. The Adwa Victory Day is a public holiday in all regional states and charter cities across Ethiopia. All schools, banks, post offices and government offices are closed, with the exceptions of health facilities. Some taxi services and public transports choose not to operate on this day. Shops are normally open but most close earlier than usual. The victory of Adwa, being a public holiday, is commemorated in public spaces. In Addis Ababa, the victory of Adwa is celebrated at Menelik Square with the presence of government officials, patriots, foreign diplomats, and the general public. The Ethiopian Police Orchestra play various patriotic songs as they walk around Menelik Square. The public dress up in traditional Ethiopian patriotic attire. Men often wear jodhpurs and various types of vest. They carry the Ethiopian flag and various patriotic banners and placards, as well as traditional Ethiopian shields and swords called shotel. Women dress up in different patterns of handcrafted traditional Ethiopian clothing, known in Amharic as Habesha Kemis. Some wear black gowns overall, while others put royal crowns on their heads. Women's styles of dress, like their male counterparts, imitate the traditional styles of Ethiopian patriotic women. Of particular note is the dominant presence of the Empress Taytu betul during these celebrations, the beloved and influential wife of Emperor Menelik II. Empress Taytu betul played a significant role during the Battle of Adwa. Although often overlooked, thousands of women participated in the Battle of Adwa. Some were trained as nurses to attend to the wounded, and others mainly cooked and supplied food and water to the soldiers and comforted the wounded. In addition to Addis Ababa, other major cities in Ethiopia, including Bahir Dar, Debre Marcos, and the town of Adwa itself, where the battle took place, celebrate the victory of Adwa in public ceremonies. Several images and symbols are used during the commemoration of the victory of Adwa, including the tricolored green, gold and red Ethiopian flag, images of Emperor Menelik II and Empress Taytu Betul, as well as other prominent kings and war generals of the time, including King Tekle Haymanot of Gojam, King Michael of Wallo, Dejazmak Balcha Safo, Fitarari Habt Georgis Dinagdi, and Fitarari Gabehu, among others. Surviving members of the Ethiopian patriotic battalions were the various medals that they collected for their participation on different battlefields. Young people often wear t-shirts adorned by Emperor Menelik II, Empress Taytu, Emperor Haile Selassie and other notable members of the Ethiopian monarchy. Popular and patriotic songs are often played on amplifiers. Of particular note are Ejigaya Shibaba's ballad dedicated to the Battle of Adwa and Teddy Afro's popular song, Tikurso, which literally translates to "black man" or "black person," a poetic reference to Emperor Menelik II's decisive African victory over Europeans, as well as the emperor's darker skin complexion.